Morning, everyone. It's Mr. Spectacular here. Today is Thursday, the 10th of March, 2022, just around 4:40 in the morning. We're gonna do a quick crypto market update, see where we're at, see what has happened in the last couple of days, and where things might be potentially headed in the future. If you haven't already, make sure to check out our website, blockchainsensei.com. You can have a look at all the services we have to offer, including our one-on-one lessons and some of the digital products that we offer, including our crypto swing trading service. So if, let's say, you want to speed up your learning curve, or you just don't have time to do all the research, I send you 20 trades a month. And just in the month of February, on the successful trades that have executed, we have produced just around 48% returns. So if you're interested in that, have a look at our website, and also there will be links in our bio if you're watching this on Instagram, and in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. So one of the major events that has happened yesterday was the Biden executive order has finally come through. And yeah, I don't think it's a major thing to be afraid of at the moment. However, there are certain implications of it that will be important as we carry on into the future. So there was a lot of fear, a lot of FUD regarding presidential executive orders in the past. When it was related to gold back in the 1900s, there was an executive order to confiscate all the gold. So there was a lot of FUD saying, okay, crypto's done, Biden's going to ban it all. Not really. They're really moving into regulating crypto and making it an important topic of conversation. With that being said, I do believe it will have some negative implications along the way, mainly with the US creating their central bank digital currency. If you're not familiar with what those are, basically the US, just like pretty much a whole bunch of other countries, mainly China as well, they're looking into creating their own central bank digital currencies, which is like a bank and government crypto, which it's the exact opposite of what crypto was intended to be. Crypto was intended to be decentralized and for the people, and something that we are in control of. Whereas if the government and the banks start issuing their own cryptos, that is total control, that is full sovereignty over your finances. If you look at the CBDC reports, they outline the extent of control they would have. They would literally be able to control what you spend your money on, how much you get, the maximum you can get, and most likely it will be implemented to introduce universal basic income. So as we've seen with the lockdowns of 2020, people are more than happy to stay at home and receive funding from the government. So that's something that I believe is coming down the line in the next couple of years. However, what has happened in the markets last couple of days, we've seen Bitcoin go through a bit of a chop, ranging between 35K and around 55K. We haven't touched 60 yet. However, I do believe it might be coming in the next couple of days. Yesterday, we've had a really nice candle here, just about 8% overall. So far today, we've had about 5.8% drop. And to really see what's going on, I like to go down to the 1-hour charts. On a macro view, I think the daily, weekly are perfectly fine. However, if you want to see exactly what's going on, I like to go into the 1-hour charts. Makes me more confident in what might be happening. So we've seen this level right here act as a pretty consistent level of support and resistance. And, you know, even though I'm not religious about technical analysis, I do believe it has some useful implications. And as we've seen with this level, just around 40,000, well, slightly under, around $39,600 for Bitcoin. It's been a pretty consistent level where price has either found support or it found resistance that it ranged around and couldn't break through. So we've seen this big massive run up yesterday. We broke through, ranged for a bit, and now, as I thought before I started recording this video, we might come down and at the very least retest just under 40K. And as of this moment, it's already starting to pull back a bit. By the time you're watching this video, we'll see exactly how this thing played out. Personally, I think we might hold. However, this is crypto, so you never know. And as you've seen yesterday, when things start to move, they move pretty fast. There was a whole lot of not much going on, bit of a rise up, and then boom, we get this massive candle. Quite similar with Ethereum. Pretty nice rise yesterday, although not as much as Bitcoin, which leads me to believe that this might be a pretty sustainable recovery overall, because historically, whenever Bitcoin has had a massive pullback, the altcoins will drop a lot more. Let's say Bitcoin takes a 5% loss. Something else that's 10 billion market cap might take a 15 to 20% loss in the same time frame. Whereas for the recovery to be sustainable, if the alts are easily outperforming Bitcoin, most likely it won't last. Whenever on these bounces we've seen altcoins quickly outperform Bitcoin, it didn't hold, because for the crypto markets to be strong, we need a strong Bitcoin. You can't have just everybody gambling on altcoins. So with Bitcoin strongly outperforming the majority of the market, I do believe this recovery might be sustainable, at least in the short time frame. If you watched any of my previous videos, I still think we are going to see some real serious pain this year. I do believe we are going to go down to the 20,000s. It's just a matter of time when that happens. In case you haven't watched any of the previous episodes and this is the first time tuning in, welcome. But if you look at the peak of the previous bull market, we've topped out at about 19,500. We've been as low as around 2.5 grand per Bitcoin. This is there's still way lower than we can go. And with the macroeconomic situation, inflation just running absolutely crazy, the Fed, their main priority will be curbing inflation, because America, even though they claim to be the richest country, most of them are broke. Most of them have less than $1,000 in the bank. They've never owned a stock, and if they heard of crypto, they think it's a scam. And that's the majority of people that vote. So the main priority of the Fed and the government will be to ensure that, at least on paper, inflation is not as bad as it looks. The black swan event that would make that go the opposite direction with more money printing, more inflation, would be if America does enter into a military conflict with Russia. but it's too early to tell whether or not that will happen. Personally, I'm still micro bullish and macro bearish on this year, but overall, if you are in this for the long term, doesn't really matter. If Bitcoin goes down to 20K this year and the next 10 years, it's a million, who cares? So looking at different parts of the market, we've seen gold hit a bit of a peak, just at around just under $2,100. Had a bit of a pullback yesterday, pulling back a little bit today. We may have seen those profits from gold be rotated back into Bitcoin, because gold is a risk off. It's a safe haven asset, whereas Bitcoin, even though we've seen the narrative of Bitcoin being the new gold, Bitcoin being a store of value, it's still in its early phases, and it's less than 10% of gold's market cap. So Bitcoin, I would still consider it a risk on asset. And we've seen Bitcoin move the exact opposite direction yesterday to gold. Quite similar with silver, bit of a local top and a pretty strong pullback yesterday. The prices of commodities, oil and wheat continue to go up due to the conflict in Ukraine. Now, if we look at the dollar index, again, we've seen a bit of a top and a strong pullback yesterday. So if you're not familiar with it, what the dollar index shows us is how much people prefer dollars over risk on assets. So the more fear there is in the market, the more uncertainty, the more people will gravitate towards cash, because even though it's eaten away by inflation, it's still not as risky as something like Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies or even stocks. So similar with, actually, we'll look at the total market caps in a second, but with stocks, we've seen the S&P 500 have, again, a strong recovery yesterday. We've gone up by, just around 3%, which for some of the size of a stock market is pretty significant. Similar to the top 100, Vanguard, not as much. And NASDAQ again had a bit of just a tiny bit of a rise. Now the volatility index, we're still in the pretty high numbers. So it's currently around 32. And whenever we've seen volatility go above the 30s, there's usually a pretty strong movement in the markets, usually to the downside. So things are still quite uncertain. However, well, that's the game we're in, guys. So that's the times we have to adapt. We have to. The main priority right now is survival. It's not 10x gains. It's not 100x gains. That time, I believe, will come again. However, the main priority now is staying alive in this game and maintaining relative sanity to where you're not up and down emotionally because, okay, the markets move 5% this way or 5% that way. So is there anything else I wanted to show you? Yeah, let's look at the total market caps. So the total one pretty much follows Bitcoin. So currently sitting at around $1.7 trillion, with our recent top being 3 trillion. We're still quite far down. However, in the long term, this is still early, guys. If you're in this game for 10 years, 20 years, it's mind-blowing with the adoption that's possible of where these things can go. With the total twos, currently just under $1 trillion. So that's everything excluding Bitcoin, and the total threes, that's everything excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, currently around 600 billion. So let's just quickly look at funding. And that's something I use for determining which way Bitcoin might move in the short term. Because even though long term Bitcoin's moves are mainly driven by adoption and users and how many people are using it, in the short term, with the amount of derivative traders that we have, usually these guys are wrong and usually they don't make money. So the market will move whichever direction is going to liquidate the most traders. So yesterday we've seen a bit of a negative funding, which means most people are thinking it's going to go down, so they're shorting it. We've seen this entire move be done on negative funding, and after that everybody flips bullish. It's like, guys, we're going to the moon again. Positive funding the entire way through. We haven't done much. We've just ranged for most of the day. And now we've seen this drop. So when those guys get liquidated, that's when I think we might have a bit of a, move up. Now let's just have a quick look at the overall crypto market before we look at the Fear and Greed Index and wrap it up. So Bitcoin currently sitting at around 750 billion, Ethereum 312. This thing's still loading. Give it a second, guys. I have about 30 Safari windows open, so this thing can take a couple seconds every now and then. Don't really need to log in. So yeah, we have Ethereum, Bitcoin top 2. Nothing's really changed much except Terra just keeps moving up and up and up. It's moved past AVAX, Sol, and Cardano to currently sit at the number 7 spot. And yeah, everything looks pretty much the same. A lot of coins quite down on the weekly, although we did have a really good recovery yesterday with waves being up 37% on the day. Oh my. Welcome to crypto. Some coins just do whatever they want to do, guys, and you'll see it periodically. One of my biggest gainers in the previous run-up was Sol, and when Bitcoin was down, this thing was just doing whatever it wanted at some point. So you'll have times where these coins just do whatever they want to do. Now, last thing we'll look at, well, second to last thing, is the Fear and Greed Index. So that's good for checking the overall market sentiment and what decisions you should be making. If everybody's scared, you should buckle up. If everybody's greedy, you should probably want to sell. Right now, we're still in fear. We're at around 28. And one thing that I've noticed is we keep touching extreme fear with prices being higher. So if we look at the chart of Bitcoin again, I don't want the clear one. I don't want the short stuff on. Where did I have it? Right here. Yeah, let's say we're up at 44,000. We'll drop to 38. We're in extreme fear. We're in the 20s. But right around here, we're in the 20s as well. We're in the 20s here. So This one keeps ranging just over here. We were in the 50s. So the emotions of the market move pretty quickly. And one saying that I like to remember is red candles, they cause PTSD. Green candles, they cause amnesia. That's something you want to be careful of. And let's just have a quick look at the gas fees, which recently have been ridiculously low. So currently the fees on Uniswap just under $20. Yesterday, I think they were around $10. So it could be two ways. One, not many people are trading at the moment. Two, the scaling solutions that they're implementing are actually working. I would say probably a bit of both. With the markets being uncertain, you'll see more people sitting on the sidelines. And then when things are going up and when the reflexivity kicks in, everyone's like, okay, this thing's gone up so much. Now I'm going to enter because it's going to keep going. Then you'll see the gas fees hit in the hundreds of dollars. But certain times during the day, especially at times when I look at the chart, currently it's 5 a.m. So we've been going for around 20 minutes. So we're going to be wrapping it up in a second. But yeah, there's certain times during the day when the fees are just cheaper because less people are using it. So early mornings, that's when you'll find the fees to be pretty low because most normal people are asleep. So guys, hope you've enjoyed this video and found some good value in it. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Let me know also if you have any questions, concerns, what you want me to cover in any of the future videos. And if you haven't already, check out our crypto swing trading signal service. So every month I send you 20 trades. And like I said at the start, in the month of February, on the trades that have executed, we've done around 48% on average. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description below if you're watching on YouTube, in our bio if you're watching on Instagram, and you can also check out our website, blockchainsensei.com. If you want to reach out to me personally, have any questions, shoot me a message on Instagram at It's Mr. Spectacular. And to make sure I don't miss your message, just get to the point, tell me the whole thing you want. Don't start a message with like hi, because you'll probably get ignored. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you've had some good value out of this. Have a spectacular day, and I will see you in the next video.